Pentagon finally released its clearest UFO footage, and it didn't come out of nowhere. Back in 2007, 3 U.S. senators, Ted Stevens, Daniel Inouye, and Harry Reid, quietly pushed funding toward a program that tracked unexplained objects in U.S. airspace. For years, pilots recorded craft that accelerated, hovered, and vanished without explanation. Most of that data stayed hidden.
So I go like this, and it's climbing still, and when it gets right in front of me, it just disappears. Disappears. Like gone.
Now, these videos show maneuvers modern aircraft cannot match, and they raise questions the government still cannot answer. The footage forces officials into rare public silence.
That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing! It's rotating.
Gimbal video. The gimbal video is among the most scrutinized pieces of unidentified aerial phenomena footage ever released by the U.S. military. It was captured in January 2015 by the targeting pod on a U.S. Navy F/A-18 Super Hornet, which was assigned to the USS Theodore Roosevelt Strike Group. The video shows a mysterious object tracked by the jet's ASQ-228 Advanced Targeting Forward-Looking Infrared System during a routine training mission off the U.S. East Coast. When the Navy admitted that this happened and the Pentagon released the clip, it was the first time the U.S. government publicly confirmed that the military had actually faced unidentified aerial anomalies and recorded it. In the 34-second infrared video, the object seems to be dark against a hotter atmospheric backdrop, and what makes the sighting especially shocking is how it rotated while flying. Midway through the clip, the object pivoted on its axis. The pilots couldn't believe what they were seeing. Because normal human-made aircraft don't rotate in this manner while maintaining a lateral or forward motion. The video also recorded the radio chatter, and you can hear a pilot saying, "Look at that thing! It's rotating!" This UFO claim is way more credible than most because the footage was taken by an advanced infrared sensor and seen by professional aviators. The AATIP flyer pod that recorded the event is designed to detect heat signatures and track fast-moving targets at significant distances. In this case, it logged the unknown object at altitude with no obvious wings, control surfaces, or conventional propulsion, while maintaining a controlled flight path and performing the rotation. Many experts have tried to analyze the footage. Some ufologists say that since the object rotated while holding course, it means it had aerodynamic behaviors beyond the known aircraft capabilities. This is nothing natural and isn't from any known aircraft. But some are still skeptical about this UFO video released by the Pentagon and the Navy. They suspect it might be an artifact of the imaging system or parallax effects. Others argue that infrared sensor glare or camera movement could produce visual illusions that mimic rotation. Apart from releasing this video, the Pentagon also revealed 2015 footage of an object that definitely wasn't made by humans. Go Fast Video. The Go Fast video is one of the 3 official U.S. Navy UAP clips, igniting intense interest and debate about unexplained airborne objects seen by trained military aviators. The video was captured in January 2015 by an F/A-18 Super Hornet operating off the eastern seaboard near the Florida coast. The video was recorded using the jet's AASQ-228 Advanced Targeting Forward-Looking Infrared Pod. This was one of the most sophisticated infrared sensor and targeting systems deployed on Navy aircraft. The Department of Defense has since confirmed that the clip, along with Gimbal and FLIR 1, genuinely depicts unidentified aerial phenomena that the military has tried to explain but is unable to. Go Fast is a roughly 35-second infrared recording which shows a small object being tracked by the targeting pod as it travels at really high speed just above the ocean's surface. In the video, the object appears as a bright, smooth oval against the darker backdrop of the sea and sky, with no visible wings. Control surfaces or exhaust plume that you might expect in a human-made aircraft. Pilots and weapons system operators can be heard on the cockpit audio reacting in real time, and one of them exclaimed, "Whoa! Got it!" You can also hear the voices questioning what the object might be. Technical data from the targeting display reveals that the FA-18 was flying about 25,000 feet when the sensor first acquired the object. Then, the pod's automatic tracking system then locked onto because manual tracking proved difficult because of the target's speed and size. What sets Go Fast apart from any other UFO encounter revealed by the Pentagon is the fact that they didn't detect a conventional propulsion or aerodynamic structure. So, some suspected that this was alien technology, while others thought it was advanced aerospace technologies we didn't yet understand. Despite how dramatic the footage looks, there have been different interpretations of the Go Fast footage. Some researchers emphasize that the object's apparent speed and proximity to the ocean might be misleading because of sensor perspective and aircraft motion. FLIR 1 and Enmit's incident off the Southern California coast on November 14, 2004, the U.S. Navy encountered one of the most compelling and debated UAP cases in modern history. This event is now called the Tic Tac incident, and it's captured in the FLIR 1 video. During routine training with the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group, radar operations aboard the USS Princeton tracked a series of mysterious objects over nearly 2 weeks. Some of them descended from altitudes above 80,000 feet to sea level in fractions of a second. And that was something that an aircraft could definitely not do. Commander David Fravor was scrambled along with his wingman, Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, to investigate a contact seen on radar. Upon arrival, they reported seeing anomalous disturbances on the ocean surface resembling water boiling, but they didn't see the physical object. Then, before they knew it, they saw a white oblong craft with a smooth exterior resembling a giant Tic Tac mint. It hovered about 50 feet above the water. Fravor later estimated the object's length at roughly 40 feet. It displayed no wings, rotors, control surfaces, exhaust plumes, or any discernible propulsion system, and it didn't generate a heat signature expected from an aircraft. Visually and by onboard systems, the Tic Tac object performed maneuvers that astonished the experienced pilots. As Fravor attempted to close in, it mirrored his movements, ascending and repositioning itself in patterns that did not resemble conventional flight dynamics. When Fravor pressed an aggressive intercept, the object suddenly sped up and vanished from sight at a pace far exceeding F-18 capabilities. The FLIR 1 and Nimitz incident stands out because it involved professional military aviators, multiple sensor systems, and eyewitness testimony from pilots and radar operators. These 3 footages were the clearest the Pentagon revealed of UFOs, but one might wonder when they took and recorded these shocking videos. It was all under a secret Pentagon program. Pentagon secret program created. The secret program, called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, was a largely unpublicized U.S. government effort to study unexplained aerial phenomena. The roots of AATIP go back to 2007, when the then Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid championed the creation of a defense spreading initiative to explore anomalous aircraft reports that could pose national security threats. Reid's interest wasn't abstract. He had, over the years, been exposed to testimony from pilots and civilians about unexplained sightings, and he believed that it was important to investigate all the strange phenomena that the intelligence assessments always dismissed. So, Reid and 2 other popular senators, Ted Stevens and Daniel Inouye, supported the effort. They used about $22 million in black budget funds tucked into the Department of Defense budget rather than debating openly on the Senate floor. Initially operating under the name Advanced Aerospace Weapon Systems Applications Program, the effort was later called AATIP. Much of the early contract work was funneled through Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies. In 2010, oversight of the program was taken on by Luis Elizondo, a career defense intelligence officer with extensive clearance and experience in classified operations. Elizondo focused on systematically investigating UAP reports, analyzing radar data, infrared footage, and eyewitness testimony from military personnel. Then, they focused on checking whether this was a threat to U.S. airspace security or not. Under his direction, AATIP analysts reviewed multiple high-quality military sensor recordings, including infrared videos from Navy F/A-18 Super Hornet. These were the 3 Pentagon clips later revealed as the clearest proof of UFOs. Although AATIP's formal funding ended around 2012, and the Pentagon later stated the program was shuttered, many involved claimed that the work continued informally within various defense and intelligence offices. Its existence was revealed publicly in December 2017 through major media reporting, which included the first disclosure of classified videos and brought unprecedented attention to government efforts to study UAPs. Over time, AATIP's legacy helped spur the creation of successor initiatives like the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force and later the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, reflecting an ongoing institutional commitment to understanding these unexplained encounters. The AATIP carried out different types of investigations of UFOs, looking to find out where they came from and whether they would harm us. AATIP investigations and capabilities. The AATIP didn't just exist on paper, but it conducted real investigative work using military-grade sensors, pilot testimony, and analysis to try to understand unexplained aerial phenomena that appeared in U.S. airspace. Unlike the previous UFO investigations that relied mostly on civilian sightings or anecdotes, AATIP's strength was in its access to high-fidelity military data and direct reports from trained aviators and radar operators. What emerged from its investigations were multiple instances of objects that exhibited flight behavior and characteristics that could be readily explained by known aircraft or natural phenomena. Very important to AATIP's work was the review of infrared and radar data that had been captured by Navy F/A-18s and associated carrier strike group sensors. In a series of encounters documented in the now famous Gimbal, Go Fast, and FLIR-1 videos, Navy pilots and weapons systems operators tracked objects with the AT-FLIR system. This is a sophisticated sensor designed for combat targeting. These recordings showed objects traveling at high speed, maneuvering without visible control surfaces or propulsion, and performing abrupt changes in direction. The pilot's reaction on the audio tracks, including audible surprise and confusion, showed how unusual these encounters were. AATIP analysts also correlated radar data from naval platforms like the SP-1 ACE-1 radar on cruisers with the aircraft footage to confirm that these were not isolated sensor glitches but multi-source detections of physical objects. One especially striking example came from the Go Fast case, in which the object appeared to skim the ocean's surface at seemingly high velocity with no detectable exhaust plume or propulsion signature, leading investigators to describe its motion as inconsistent with typical aeronautical physics. Former AATIP director Luis Elizondo and colleagues documented repeated instances where these UFOs demonstrated very strange kinematic behavior. Some of them sped up too fast or seemed to hover, while others moved laterally without any lift mechanisms. Elizondo and others developed a set of observables based on consistently observed traits. There was no visible propulsion, instant acceleration, and the flight characteristics didn't align with the known aerospace technology. While internal Pentagon skeptics sometimes questioned the interpretation or sufficiency of data, AATIP's investigations nonetheless elevated UAP encounters from fringe sightings to phenomena warranting serious scientific and defense consideration. But all these investigations were done in the highest levels of secrecy. Program status and secrecy. The AATIP was shrouded in secrecy during its life, and even more so after its closure, especially since it investigated extraordinary encounters and was funded by black-budget money. It was a low-profile Pentagon effort to examine UFOs that might represent advanced technologies or threats, and for its first 5 years, it was never publicly acknowledged until 2017. When AATIP's funding officially ended in 2012, the U.S. Department of Defense said it was because of a shift in priorities and that other defense issues needed funding. The Pentagon maintained that the program was concluded at that time and that the closure was a routine fiscal decision rather than an abrupt halt to vital research. However, this assertion belied the continued interest in UAPs within defense and intelligence circles. Former AATIP lead Luis Elizondo repeatedly claimed that the end of congressional appropriations did not equate to the end of investigative activity. According to him, all the work on UAP cases, sensor data examination, and threat assessment continued within the Defense Department through other offices even after the formal program name was retired. Part of the program's mystique and contention stems from the fact that few details were ever released publicly before 2017. Even the now well-known Navy infrared videos were originally cleared only for limited internal distribution and were not meant for wide release. When AATIP's existence was disclosed in December 2017 through the major media outlets, it sparked fascination and skepticism. No one could believe that the government was investigating UFOs because whenever there was a sighting, the officials always denied it. Even the research agenda of AATIP was a secret. In response to a Freedom of Information Act request in 2019, the Defense Intelligence Agency released a list of 38 research titles funded under the program. It revealed that some investigations touched on speculative and theoretical topics, such as traversable wormholes and negative energy. These were areas far removed from conventional aerospace threat analysis. Even if the entity remained a secret and later dissolved in 2012, it paved the way for other organizations investigating UFOs, such as the AARO. Looking at the 3 clear footages of UFOs by the Pentagon, there are different theories and views on what they could really be. Skepticism and debate. The skepticism and debate around the Pentagon's UFO investigations reflect a scientific and cultural divide over how to interpret these anomalous encounters. On one side, there are voices that demand rigorous evidence and terrestrial explanations rooted in established science and data. On the other hand, some see the phenomena as a window into unknown technologies or even non-human intelligence, and who criticize government secrecy for obscuring clarity. Different officials like Sean Kirkpatrick, the former director of Pentagon's AARO, have been explicit in asserting that no credible evidence of extraterrestrial technology has emerged from official U.S. investigations to date. Kirkpatrick emphasized that most UAP cases can be explained with normal reasons, like balloons, drones, sensor artifacts, or natural phenomena. He says that even when footage seems to be intriguing, there's hardly any other information, making it hard for them to say for sure that those are extraterrestrial objects. But many argue that the government's secrecy and incomplete data release have made it hard to investigate too. Still, the Pentagon is still looking into the different UFOs, and recently, a whistleblower leaked some shocking UAP photos. Crashed UAP photos. A series of photographs leaked online has sparked a heated debate about their authenticity and the possibility that they show a crashed UFO. The images appear to show a heavily damaged craft with a strange, unusual structure. Witnesses have noticed that the material of the object almost looks like it was 3D printed. Also, the hull seems to be punctured by a strong impact. But till this day, no one knows where the photos were taken, who took them, and how they ended up online, making them even more mysterious. Experts and UFO enthusiasts have compared the leaked images to previous reports of unidentified aerial phenomena, noting similarities with objects seen by military pilots and eyewitnesses over the years. The craft in the photographs seems to have a seamless, rivet-free design, unlike any known aircraft. This unusual construction has led some to suggest that the technology behind the object could be far more advanced than anything currently used in aerospace engineering. The pattern of damage indicates a high-energy impact, but it is unclear whether it resulted from a crash, a collision, or a malfunction inside the craft. Another theory is that the leak could have come from a whistleblower who wanted to reveal the existence of non-human technology. In recent years, discussions about UFOs have become public, especially following Pentagon releases of declassified UFO footage. Many UFO researchers have seen the photographs as supporting claims that advanced craft have been recovered and are actually being studied in secret. Skeptics, however, warn that there is no official confirmation that the images are genuine. They argue that if such a craft had crashed, it is unlikely military personnel would allow photographs to leak so easily. Despite this, some researchers suggest the wreckage may belong to a mysterious drone rather than a full-sized manned vehicle. Similar silent, car-sized drones have been reported across the United States, including New Jersey, Colorado, and Nebraska, performing movements that defy known physics. Ever since the Pentagon released the clearest footage of UFOs, there has been interest in where these strange crafts came from and whether they could harm us. The secret investigations into UFOs have opened up a way for us to understand the world around us. Of the 3 videos, which do you think is the most valid? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. So, thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.